Okay, here it is, I don't know, 6:30 in the morning, getting ready to go to work. Thought I'd take a video starting the truck up cold. Thought it might help Joseph out, maybe let him compare some temperatures and stuff to what he's got. And I don't know if mine's normal or not, and maybe some of the other guys can look and say, yeah, that's about what mine is or not. So anyway, I thought I'd take a little video. This has not been touched since I drove home from work yesterday. First thing I'm going to do, pull off this cap. Open up the lid. There's my new fill lid for the hopper. I really like it, works good. It's got one spring, it hooks right on there. I don't know if you can see down in there or not, kind of dark, but the wood's just about at the start of the reduction part of the funnel. I'm going to move just a little bit of the wood. Don't have to move much, I'll just move a little bit right out of the center. Made just a real small hole. Probably can't see it. I'm going to take my poker, old golf club I cut off, found out at the junkyard. I'm going to run it down through there. Hardly any resistance at all. You'll feel a little bit of a void in there sometimes, but didn't really that time. Just pretty loose bed. Now what I do, I got probably 300 cans of this stuff down in an old school bus. Guy was cleaning out a warehouse, come by and wanted to know if I knew what he could do with it. I got reading on there, and it has a lot of the same chemicals in it that I was using for tire softener in my dirt track car when we used to soften our tires. Wasn't supposed to, but we did. And anyway, I got 200 or 300 cans of that. I just poke a little hole in the top, give it a little shot of that right down in the center where I kind of poke that hole in there. I always turn the blower on. If you don't, there'll be some gases left in there from the time before, and that'll give you a little haircut. Doug Gross knows a little bit about those. I'm going to light this little piece of a napkin, drop her down in there. Missed the hole. There it goes. I only have 2 suction blowers running right now. I took all the blowers off before I was getting ready to go to Argos, and one of them wasn't working. I tried to free it up, but it was just junked out. So I took the blades off from it, stuck it back on there, just used it for a spacer. Put it right back on there and just using 2. Usually with the 3 on there, it'll suck a little harder. You won't see the smoke coming out of the top quite so much. But it's going. I can see it burning down into the char bed. Trying to poke around on this wood that's been laying in there. Loosen it up. That's what Wayne was talking about. How they might stick a little bit, cause it to not fall down there right back. So you kind of poke it around just a little. Get me a bag of wood. I don't have to put much wood in. I'm just going to go to work and back. I put about 3/4 of a bag in. I can hear it roaring a little bit down in there. Anyway, close the lid, hook that spring on there. Found me an old Actually, my dad had this ammo box when I was a kid. We used to keep bolts and nuts and stuff in it. I cleaned it up, painted up, mounted it on the side. Made me a nice place to store stuff. Something I haven't showed you guys is my little option here. I found me an old barbecuer lid down at the junkyard that just fit my heat exchangers just perfect. Put a hinge on it. Bought these little clamps. Put a piece of foil down in there, lay you 3 or 4 hamburgers in there. Wrap some foil around some potatoes, green beans, lay it in there, and after about 1 hopper full, about 45 miles, everything is just perfect, ready to eat. Smells good. Mounted me a little tray right there to lay my buns on and stuff while you're getting ready to fix what you got there to eat. Put your plates and stuff on there. But that worked out real good. Grandkids really like it. They like to put stuff on there. I like it. Everybody likes a good hamburger or whatever. But made a good cooker. Anyway, I'm gonna turn the blower off. I usually go ahead and put the lid back on down there. I always run the blower. I don't always, but I'm gonna run the blowers just a little bit to push some gas and stuff up through the system to fill the stuff. And I just wanted to show Joseph, I actually have a little bit of, when you do put the pusher blowers on, I actually have a little bit of a leak right there, which you wouldn't even know you had until you put this pusher blower on them. I've never noticed hurt anything. Next time I take that apart to clean everything, I'll seal that up a little better. I just use red silicone on that bottom seal. But anyway, turn that off. Forgot to put my stuff back in the ammo box. I better throw that in there. Once again, trying to do this one-handed and film. I don't know if you can see it. I got a little bit of smoke coming out from under the hood, so I know I was pushing up through the system. Turn on my readings for the thermocouples. 143 in the crossover, 113 leaving the heat exchanger, and 81 degrees in the hopper. I've got my choke cable pushed in to pull on the gasifier. Sometimes it takes a minute to find out where you're at once you push that up through there. I had the gasoline on, I just turned it back off because it was too rich. Still running too rich. I'm going to pull the choke cable out just a bit. There we go. I cranked the gasoline on just a little bit on the rheostat. I'm going to push the choke cable in a little, start pulling on the gasifier. I can tell it's running richer and richer. Start easing back on the rheostat, shutting off the fuel pump. $153, $54, $56, $131 on the leaving exchanger. Gasoline's turned completely off. And we're moving. Temperature's already up to 216, 218, 220 in the crossover, 157 leaving the heat exchanger. Joseph's temperature's leaving that heat exchanger Seems really cool to me also. You're gonna have a hard time cooking them boogers up there if you don't get them temperatures up. Just kidding, Joseph. No, not really kidding. That's the way it be. Dropping over a hill here. On wood gas only, no gasoline. We had a bunch of rain yesterday and last night. Truck's running fine. Temperature, kind of mainly done this kind of just so Joseph would have something to compare on temperature wise. My mileage was probably 92 miles when I left the house on my trip odometer, but I'm already up to 289. I'm off the gas right now, going through some flooded area on my dirt road. That's why I think that big old fish laying right there in the middle of the road. You guys see that? Could go fishing, put him on top of the heat exchanger and have fish by the time we got to work. Big old carp. Help him get back over there in the water a little bit. Anyway, kind of little side distraction for our test here. Things cooled down just a little while we was messing around with the fish. Here we are going again. We've went right out just 1 mile. You can see how fast the temperatures are rising. Like I said, that's why I don't need a grate shaker, and probably have to change my dump my char more often than some guys do. I drive down this rough road here every day, every night. Every time it rains, gets these washed out places in it. I'm sure that kind of shakes my char bed pretty good, but anyway, why I usually run pretty good size fuel, keep the bed as loose as I can, because it probably would vibrate it down and be tight if I didn't. But anyhow, we'll get up here on the highway where I can stand on the gas for a little length of time and show you how fast the temperatures come up, Joseph. Here we are. We went just a little over 1 mile and already reading of course it drops right off when I get off the gas, but it was up to 280 on the top of the heat exchanger, back down to 261. Now we'll be able to stay on the gas just for a little bit. And that was climbing up over the overpass, and as soon as I turned onto the highway, so I was on the gas for a little bit. Now it's going to start cooling back down just maintaining a steady speed, about 45, 50 mile an hour going down the road. You can see it dropping, maintaining that speed. My truck really seems to like it about in that temperature range the best, and it does fine all the way up to there, but above 400 on the crossover, 500 to around that exit temperature is about, seems like where the truck runs real well. From there on up, I just figured up last night I've went 375 miles since I filled up on fuel. Probably used, I don't know, 3 gallon, 2 or 3, probably 3 gallon. The gauge goes up and down a little bit. I got to take that back. I went farther than that because I forgot to add the trip to the lake and back on there, which was another 160 miles. I last got gasoline a week ago, I believe it was, over a week ago. And I went to Bartlesville, Oklahoma and back, to Grand Lake and back, to a ball game at Caney and back again. Yeah, I've went about another, I've probably got 350 to 400 miles on this tank so far. All I've ever used gasoline for is sometimes down at the lake, we make little short runs down there to the boat ramp or something, and if it's not still burning, I'll stick it on gasoline and go a few blocks on gasoline down there and back. But none driving down the highway, just for startups and tinkering around a little bit. But anyhow, I thought I'd just put this on there as a kind of a little startup comparison for some other people, or maybe other guys can let me know. But as far as that little leak around the right around the top of the burn, or the spacer, or the bottom of the spacer ring above the fire tube, I don't really know that it affects anything. I don't have no problem with it, so I wouldn't worry too much about small leaks there. We'll see if we can pass some people here on wood gas. Oh yeah. I haven't touched any controls since I started it at the house. I actually never even changed. You was talking about the timing, wondering about the timing. I never even slowed my timing down from when I got home the day before and started it on gasoline with the timing up, what little bit of gas we used there starting it. But I never even messed with it, just left it turned up. Sometimes if the truck's a little warm though, and maybe you can't get it started for whatever reason, figure out where this rich or lean, and you got on gasoline, it wants to kick a little bit, pre-ignite, I will back it off just a hair, or all the way back to start on gasoline. But this morning when I'm starting it on wood gas, and I've already pushed it up through there with the pusher blowers, I think it needs the timing to help start on the wood gas. So anyhow, we're driving through Coffeyville. I'm heading to work. I'm going to be driving the Dakota to Bartlesville, Oklahoma again today. I've got a tear in my left shoulder in the rotator cuff, and I had to go down and get an MRI last Friday, which we drove the Dakota on that trip. And I got to go back to the doc down there today to get the reviews of the MRI to see if my left rotator cuff's torn. I hope not. I've had my right shoulder done twice, and that's one of the slowest healing surgeries you can get. It takes about 3-4 months off work, and I don't want that. But we'll see. I was coming down a ladder at work, a rung ladder, and they had installed some conduit, and they put the conduit about 3 inches above the rung. I was coming down the ladder. I went up one side and coming down the other, and I was coming down that ladder, and that piece of conduit there was about 3 inches above one of the rungs and about 2 inches behind it. My foot caught on that piece of conduit. Kind of thought I was on the rung, and it slipped off and about fell off the ladder, had to catch myself, stretching my right arm. I don't know what I did really, but messed up my left shoulder somehow on that deal. So, anyway, I guess I'm going to try to use the Dakota to make a little money. They pay you 56 cents a mile, whatever I got to use going to the doctor and back, and whatever that stuff amounts to. So been going back and forth driving the Dakota on wood, so I can make about $35 a trip, burning the wood down there and back. So it's paying off in that aspect. Not burning any gasoline, going to the appointments and get paid to drive the Dakota. So there's a plus there on that. But anyhow, I'll be leaving work. I'm only going to be at work about an hour and a half, and I'm going to leave and go home and head to Bartlesville. I'll stop and grab a few more bags of wood. It's about a 70-mile round trip to Bartlesville and back, and I'll only need a couple bags of wood to do that. I'll come back, go back to work. So I'll see you guys later. I thought this might help. I'll put you a little temperature down here. But that's just about a normal drive and normal temps, and everything's working fine. Trucks, I haven't touched anything, like I say. And there's another one of these. See that old boy going real slow up here? That's another one of these great shaking roads that I go down every day. You got to dodge around and look for spots. I don't know if you can see how bad them are, but this road's pretty bad. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. I just thought, okay, might want to watch this. You don't.